So welcome to Wrestler Designs, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to change these little babies as well as how to change this, which is the timing chain for the cams on the very popular Golf 2 litre and 1.8 16 valve engines. So basically this is an unchanged design since 1985, I think it was, when it came out in the Mark II Golf, up until 1999, which was a say ABF from, doesn't matter what engine it is, if it's a KR, PL, ACE, ABF, 9A, it's all the same system. Now these babies are probably about 25 to 30 years old in your car, and they probably need to be changed. They're going to be rattling, as well as obviously gives you poor performance because you're not getting the full lift or duration. Another thing on these 16 valve engines is the timing chain. A lot of people don't realize there actually is one. You have a timing belt on one side, but on the back of the engine, there's actually a timing chain that connects the two cams together, the exhaust to the inlet. Again, this is probably original in your car, 25, 30 years old. They don't tend to break. I've never seen one break. It doesn't mean they don't break, but they do get slack, they do get worn. And what it does is, because it gets worn, the cam timing changes because there is that little bit of play in the cams. So again, another symptom of a worn chain can be poor performance, poor RPM response. So I'm going to be showing you guys a step-by-step on how to do this, with also a little trick on doing the cam chain, because if you haven't done this before and I don't show you this trick, it could take you 4, 5, 6 attempts to actually get the cams timed up. If you have done this before, you'll know what I'm talking about. So some of you may recognize this engine bay. This is my Project Freebie. It was a 3 Mark II, and I've dropped in a 2 litre 16 valve. Now I'm just going to quickly run through what needs to be done. You just basically need to unplug bits and pieces. Going to remove the airbox, the intake pipe, ignition leads, and the inlet manifold, so that then we've got access to the cam cover. So as you can see, we can now see the rocker cover. It's always a good idea to cover the inlet ports. You don't want a screw falling in there or a bolt falling in there, then you are really screwed. And you can see where the timing chain actually sits here in this little bulge. So the next bits I'm going to be removing will be the timing belt cover. I'm going to loosen off the fuel rail so that the fuel pressure regulator can actually clear. Take off the distributor and take off this earth strap. So that's all you really need to do, is kind of just loosen it off. As you can see, it's moved it back, just gives you that little bit of clearance. So the next thing to do now is actually with a long extension. So now the next thing to do with a long extension, and so now with a long, so next thing I'm going to do is actually turn the engine here and get the engine at TDC. So you've got a little mark here on the cam cover, which lines up with a mark there, and there's another one on the crank pulley that lines up with the bottom cover. I do actually cover how to do the timing belt on the 16 valves, so check that out if you are kind of stuck at this point. But the next thing we're going to do, we're going to crack on and actually loosen off the tensioner to remove the belt. Okay, belt off. Now the reason why I'm not changing the belt is this was actually done recently, so there's no need for me to change it, but if I was you, I would change it. So now that the belt is off, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rotate the engine slightly backwards, anti-clockwise, so that the piston's not at TDC, and that's so that we don't have any problems when we fit in the cams in. That'll become evident later on in the video. So yeah, I've turned it a little bit anti-clockwise. Okay, so now comes a good bit. We can actually remove the cover with the 6 nuts, the 8 nuts actually hold it in place. This one seems to be pretty stuck. Might have to prise it open. Okay, there we go. All right, let's there we go. So there you have it. Here's the cams and the timing chain. So when removing the distributor, always put a rag underneath it because there'll always be oil that will drip out of it, as you can see. Now this is the way I like to do it. Doesn't mean it's the right way, but it's the way that works for me. So I work from the outside in, removing the nuts. They are 11mm, and also you can see on the caps, they're numbered from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That one is unique, so you can't get that mixed up. Same with that one, and same with that one. So that's why they're not numbered, I guess. And also make sure the number's actually facing you as well. So they've all been removed apart from the 2 in the middle, top and bottom. So I'm just gonna loosen these off like that in a cross section. Okay, let's remove these remaining caps. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see now, there's actually a little circle there, and there's another one there. Now they need to time up. So before you actually remove the cams and remove the chain, what I do, my little trick and tip, is basically on this tooth here, I mark the tooth and the chain, and again on the inlet cam, I'll mark the tooth going up and mark the chain. And now the reason for that is whatever you do, whatever rotation you put these in, they're always going to line up. So it should be 11 teeth from there. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? So now we can actually remove the cams. Cam number 1 out. You do actually need to remove the actual cam pulley to get it off. So that's it. Now I'm just going to remove all the hydraulics. So new chain, old chain. You can see the marks. So we're just going to mark up a chain link there. And mark up another one there, and that's it. We can never get the timing wrong now. So now just match mark to mark, and that's it. Now the cams are not actually at TDC because they won't rest at TDC. So this is the way. Now you can see why I've actually I've retarded the crank pulley slightly, because the last thing you want to do is actually bend the valve by tightening or damaging the cam, or damaging something up here by actually having piston to valve contact due to the cams not being in the right position, because they won't rest. So as you can see, that actually the inlet cam on the exhaust one, unfortunately you can't. You can literally only start these two. So as you can see, I've just fitted the main 8 caps, and I'm going to just literally hand tight the ones all on the inlet, And then on this exhaust one, I'm going to slowly turn it until I'm able to actually put the next one along. And then once that I can, I'll just slightly tighten those up very carefully, and then do the next one along, and then do the next one along. Because the last thing you want to do is actually tighten this all the way down. You will crack the cam, or you'll pinch the cam and then it won't turn, or whatever it is. Don't do that. So yeah, just do it very slowly with a ratchet, very carefully. And we're going to put there, you can just see it just literally turns once, if that even. And then use a small ratchet. Either use a 1/4 inch or small 3/8. This is a very small 3/8. Just very carefully, if you turn, just slowly, bit by bit. We can almost get the next one on now. Yep, there you go. And then slowly do the same again. Always keeping an eye on the next one to see when you can actually get them on. Which we can. Or almost just a little bit more. There we go. And then this one is ready to go. So there we have it, got all of them on now. So now even at this stage, I just literally just work my way never over tightening it, just literally bit by bit. And now, just going to repeat the process on the inlet cam. So now, with a small torque wrench, this actually ranges from 5 Newton meters to 25 Newton meters, because they need to be torqued up 15 Newton meters. So basically start as you would do with a head gasket. You start in the middle. Then work your way out. Okay, so that's the main 8 caps done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off these areas and actually put on the 2 end ones, put a new cam seal on it, and put the last one that fits on here. So I torqued up the remaining ones, which is the cam cover one, the distributor one, and this end one here. And just to make double sure, I went over them all again to make sure I hadn't missed one. I actually forgot to tighten these 2. Another nice thing to do before you put the belt on, just get your 24mm spanner and just make sure it moves freely like that, just a little bit, and you can see it's all good. So now with the cam cover on, you can see the mark there, and I've put it on TDC, the crank's on TDC. Now I'll just remove the cover and double check that the exhaust cam is in time with the inlet, and they are. So hopefully guys, you can see the marks there. They're timed up perfectly, and our custom made marks are all up. So yep, quick and easy. If you don't do it this way, even if you're lucky, it might take you 2 or 3 times of putting the cams on, taking the cams off. They look right when you put the cam cover on. To try and time it up, it's totally wrong, it's off a tooth. So yeah, don't waste your time, do it this way, it's literally foolproof. All right, so as you can see, all completed and done, bolted up, ready to be started. Now, I'm sure you saw I actually fitted a different cam pulley. It's called a cam vernier. They're adjustable. This one's actually by Piper Cams from the UK, and that's going to be in the next video, guys. I'm going to be doing put this on the rolling roads, mess around with it, get a baseline, and then actually advance it 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degrees, and then retard it the same again, 1, 2, 3 degrees, and actually see what's what kind of power it gets. All right, guys, so that's worth watching in the next video. Hopefully that'll be next week. Fingers crossed, all going well, depending on DD Motorsport on his availability. Guys, thanks for watching. We've hit 5,000 subscribers. Like, subscribe, comment. Be safe, guys.